Police, open the door.
What is this about?
A disturbance. Step outside. Open the door now or I'll force entry.
Maya Alvarez had been asleep for less than 2 hours when the knocking started. It was not soft. It was not careful. It was loud and hard, like someone was angry with her door. The sound cut through the quiet apartment and pulled her out of sleep so fast her heart began to race. She sat up in bed, confused and scared, listening as the knock came again, stronger this time. Before the story goes any further, take a moment with me. If you're watching this right now, comment where you were watching from. Let us know your city or country. And if stories like this matter to you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hype it up in the comments, and share it with someone you care about. You never know who might need this story one day. Maya reached for her phone and checked the time. 12:14 a.m. The screen lit up the room just enough for her to see she was still wearing her hospital scrubs. She had come home from Riverside Medical Center after a double shift in the ICU. She had helped save 2 lives that day. She reheated some soup, took 3 bites, and fell asleep without even changing clothes. She lived alone in a small apartment building in Oak Ridge, Colorado. The building was quiet, filled with working people who kept to themselves. No loud music, no late-night visitors, no trouble. The knocking came again. "Police," a man's voice called out. "Open the door." Maya froze. Her body felt heavy, but her mind was sharp. She did not rush to the door. She stood up slowly and walked into the hallway, keeping her distance. Something about the voice didn't sit right with her. It sounded rushed, sharp, not calm. "Yes?" she called through the closed door. "There's been a disturbance reported. You need to step outside." A disturbance? That made no sense. Maya had been asleep. No TV, no phone calls, no visitors. Her apartment had been silent all night. "What kind of disturbance?" she asked. There was a pause, a long one. Then the man spoke again, louder this time. "Ma'am, open the door now or I'll force entry." Maya's stomach tightened. She had worked in trauma care for years. She knew fear, she knew stress, and she knew when something was off. Police officers were trained to explain. They were trained to stay calm. This man sounded angry, not professional. She quietly reached for her phone. Her brother's voice echoed in her head from months ago. "Get a doorbell camera, Maya, just in case." She opened the app. On the screen, she saw a tall man in a police uniform standing inches from her door. His name tag read Daniel Crow. His jaw was tight, his eyes were dark. One hand rested close to his belt, like he was ready for trouble. Maya felt a chill run through her chest. "Sir, can you tell me your badge number and why you're here?" "You don't need that," Crow snapped. "You need to open this door." That was the moment Maya knew something was wrong. Her heart was pounding, but her voice stayed steady. She pressed the record button. Audio on, video on. Everything was being saved. She didn't know it yet, but this moment, this knock, this camera, this choice to slow down, was about to change everything. Maya did not move away from the door, but she did not move closer either. She stood still in the hallway, barefoot on the cold floor, holding her phone with both hands. Her heart was beating fast now, but her mind stayed clear. Years in the ICU had taught her how to stay calm when everything felt dangerous. The man outside shifted his weight. She could hear it through the door, a soft scrape of boots against the hallway floor. "Ma'am," he said again, slower this time, "this doesn't need to be hard. Just open the door." That sentence made her skin crawl. Maya looked down at her phone screen. The doorbell camera showed his face clearly, too clearly. His eyes kept darting down the hall, not relaxed like a normal officer waiting on a call. His shoulders were tense. He looked like someone who wanted this to be over fast. She spoke carefully. "If there's a problem, you can explain it through the door." Crow let out a short laugh. "That's not how this works." Maya swallowed. "Then tell me your badge number." His face changed. Not much, but enough. His jaw tightened. His eyes hardened. "You're wasting my time. 5 seconds." Her hands trembled slightly, but she held the phone steady. She started an audio recording too. She wanted everything saved, every word, every tone. She sent another text to Jonah across the hall. "He's counting down. Please keep recording." Jonah replied right away. "Already am. Door locked." 4, Crow said. Maya thought of the patients she had seen over the years, people who ignored their instincts, people who said, "I didn't want to make it worse." She promised herself she would not be one of them. "Officer," she said firmly, "I am not refusing. I am asking for clarification." 3. That was enough. Maya tapped her screen and called 911. The call rang once, then connected. 911, what's your emergency? There is a police officer at my door. He is threatening to force entry. I was asleep. I don't know why he's here. The hallway went quiet. Crow stopped counting. Maya kept talking. She gave her address. She described the officer. She said she was recording everything. Her voice stayed steady, even though her heart felt like it might burst out of her chest. The dispatcher sounded confused. "Ma'am, we don't have any calls for a disturbance at your address tonight." Maya felt a cold wave pass through her body. "So he shouldn't be here?" she asked. "Please stay on the line," the dispatcher said. Crow stepped back from the door. Just one step, then another. He stared straight at the camera lens like he had just noticed it for the first time. Maya didn't blink. After a moment, a new voice came on the call. Older, calm, controlled. "This is Sergeant Paul Harris," the voice said. "Ma'am, I need you to ask the officer for his full name and badge number again." Maya nodded, even though he couldn't see her. She raised her voice just enough to be heard. "Officer, please state your full name and badge number." Crow hesitated. Then he spoke. "Daniel Crow, badge 6112. There was no pause this time. "Ma'am," Sergeant Harris said, "that officer is not assigned to your district. Do not open the door. Units are on their way." Maya's knees felt weak, but she stayed standing. Through the camera, she watched Crow's face drain of color. He looked down the hallway again. Then he turned and walked away, fast, not calm, not confident. Maya stayed on the line until she heard real sirens outside. She didn't know it yet, but that phone call had just exposed something much bigger than one bad night. And Daniel Crow knew it too. Maya did not open the door until she heard two voices she did not recognize speaking calmly in the hallway. She watched the doorbell camera as 3 uniformed officers stood outside her apartment. One of them raised his hands slowly so the camera could see him. "Ms. Alvarez, this is Officer Mark Bennett. We're here to make sure you're safe." Maya unlocked the door but kept the chain on. She looked out carefully. Their body language was different. Relaxed, professional, real. She removed the chain and stepped into the hallway. Her legs felt weak now that the danger had passed. Officer Bennett asked if she was okay. She nodded, though her hands still shook. "Where's the other officer?" she asked. Bennett sighed. "We stopped him in the parking lot." Maya's stomach dropped. "So he was real?" "Yes," Bennett said, "unfortunately." They asked Maya to sit down inside her apartment. Another officer stood by the door. She gave her her phone. They watched the footage in silence. The threats, the refusal to explain, the countdown, the moment she called 911. No one spoke until the video ended. "That's bad," one officer finally said. Within an hour, Internal Affairs arrived. Maya answered questions calmly. She told them everything she remembered, the time, the words, the tone of his voice. She didn't exaggerate. She didn't guess. She stuck to facts. That was how nurses survived courtrooms. Jonah came over once the hallway cleared. He hugged her without saying a word. His phone had recorded Crow leaving in a hurry. "You did everything right," he said quietly. Maya didn't feel brave. She felt tired. The next morning, investigators searched Crow's patrol records. What they found made everyone go quiet. Crow had been showing up at addresses with no calls locked, always late at night, always women living alone, nurses, teachers, students. He knew their routines. He chose late hours so neighbors would be asleep.
He wore his uniform so no one would question him. He spoke fast and firm so people would panic and obey. Maya's video became the missing puzzle piece. Before her, complaints existed, but they were weak alone. One woman's word against a cop, no recordings, no witnesses, no proof. Crow knew that. He counted on it. Now everything was connected. Investigators replayed Maya's footage again and again. His tone, his countdown, his refusal to follow basic police rules. Experts testified that nothing about his behavior matched real procedure. More victims came forward once the story went public. One woman said he showed up at her door claiming there was a noise complaint. She opened the door because she was scared. He stood too close, asked personal questions, looked inside her apartment. Another woman said he told her she could be arrested if she didn't cooperate. She cried as she spoke. "I thought I had no choice," she said. Maya listened to these stories quietly. She didn't interrupt. She didn't judge. She knew how fear worked. She knew how power could crush someone's voice. Crow's defense tried to fight back. They said Maya misunderstood. They said stress made him sound aggressive. They said he was just doing his job. Then the prosecutor played the 911 call. There was no call logged, the dispatcher said on the recording. That sentence ended the argument. The judge ordered Crow held without bail. When sentencing day arrived, the courtroom was full. Victims sat shoulder to shoulder. Some held hands. Some stared at the floor. Maya sat in the back, quiet and still. The judge spoke slowly. He listed every charge, every count, every abuse of trust. You used fear as a weapon. You wore authority like a mask. Crow did not look up. The sentence was final. 38 years in prison. A low sound moved through the room. Not cheering, not joy. Relief. Maya closed her eyes and took a long breath. She felt tired down to her bones. After the trial, reporters surrounded her outside the courthouse. Cameras flashed. Questions flew. She said only one thing. "I kept my door closed." That sentence spread faster than the story itself. Police departments across the state requested the footage for training, not to shame, but to warn, to teach officers what not to do, to teach citizens that they had rights even at midnight. Maya returned to work the next week. Same hospital, same long nights, same quiet strength. But something had changed. She no longer doubted her instincts, and she knew now that one calm voice, one camera, and one closed door could stop a monster hiding in plain sight. Life did not stop after the sentence was given. It never does. For Maya, the world kept moving the same way it always had. Alarms rang at the hospital, patients needed care, night shifts still stretched long and quiet. But something inside her had changed. Maya went back to Riverside Medical Center 3 days after the trial ended. She wore the same blue scrubs, she drank the same bad coffee, she focused on the same steady rhythm of machines and breathing patients. Yet people looked at her differently now. Some nurses hugged her, some just nodded with respect. One young nurse pulled her aside and whispered, "Thank you. That could have been me." Maya didn't feel like a hero. She felt like someone who listened to her gut and stayed calm when fear knocked loud. Word of the case spread far beyond Oak Ridge. Police departments across the state asked for permission to use Maya's doorbell footage in training. The video was shown to new officers and veterans alike, not as entertainment, not as shame, as a warning. "This is what abuse of power looks like," instructors said. "This is what never to do." Community groups invited Maya to speak. She didn't like being on stage, but she went anyway. She spoke in simple words, clear words. You don't owe anyone your door, not even someone in uniform. Ask questions, take your time, record everything. Parents listened closely. Young women took notes. Men nodded quietly, understanding how easily trust could be twisted. Maya also spoke to nursing students. She told them something she learned long before that night. Your instincts matter, she said. If something feels wrong, slow down. Fear wants you to rush. Safety lives in patience. Crow's name disappeared from headlines after sentencing. Prison walls swallowed his name, but his actions left scars that would take time to heal. Some victims started therapy, some moved away, some finally slept without jumping at every sound. Justice did not erase fear, but it gave it less power. Late one night, months later, Maya came home from work and stood in her hallway. The same door, the same lock, the same camera above the frame. She placed her hand on the door and took a breath. She thought about how close everything had been, how one moment of panic could have changed her life forever, how easy it would have been to open that door just to make it stop. But she didn't. That choice echoed far beyond her apartment. Oak Ridge grew quieter again, safer, not perfect, but better. People talked to their neighbors more, they shared stories, they installed cameras, they learned their rights. Maya kept working nights. She still saved lives, she still came home tired. Sometimes she smiled when she locked her door, knowing that strength didn't always look loud or brave. Sometimes strength looked like standing still. The camera still watched, the door still stayed closed. And because of that one calm decision, countless other doors would stay closed too, protecting people who might not even know Maya's name. One knock after midnight changed everything. Not because she opened the door, but because she didn't.